We finally here. We finally here. Finally here. After all that, we finally here, man. We finally here. All this stuff going on. I got Pandora in the background bumping in my ear while I'm on the live. Man, I'm out here wilding out here. But we finally here. Woo! Putting in that work. Go to my back to practice this week. You know, uh had a little situation with one of the coach's family members, so no practice all last week. This week we getting it in. I'm about to get this journey. Uh, took my vitamins last night. Not my veggies, but my vitamins. I had some veggies. I had sushi last night, so been on this little sushi wave now since I can't eat. All the stuff I want to eat, but been on the wave, man. Hopefully it pays off. I gotta stay off this rice, man. That's the thing. Sushi rolled up in the rice. So they got these egg rolls, the one with the little clear skin. Bust one of them down yesterday. It's pretty good. Had a little sauce, and I read the sauce had the sugar in it because it was a sweet chili sauce. So, like I told my wife, I said, really didn't even need that chili sauce, but hey, crazy part. But what we gonna do today is talk about the money. Talk about the money. I always talk about the money. I always talk about the mindset. I always talk about it with it changing your outcomes. Man, hold on. Might have to. Okay, all right. I see somebody watching. I was finna say, thought I had it on private, man, because I was doing a couple of private videos to kind of, you know, have a lot of them in the tuck back in the back, so I can, if I'm not dropping videos, I can actually drop some videos. But shout out to Wanda in the building. Shout out to the Gold Professor. Hey, Gold P, man, I was supposed to hit you back, man. Holler at you about some stuff about one of your other little crazy nephews, man. Hey, these boys getting out of hand, man. I'm about to ship them out to Cali with you, man. Go on and take care of them, Gold P. I can't do it, man. I can't do it. Nah, them boys, right, man. They just, kids being kids, man. That's all. Wellness in the house. Fifi in the building. Bronze, what's going on? Yeah, shout out to the fam. Hey, when it come down to it, man, the crazy part, I know I'm finna be on the road sounding crazy because I be having my little drop spot. I always try to do my own live stationary so I won't be having a lot of, chopping in it. But hey, like I said, it's one of them days. I was supposed to hit this live earlier. Complications with people, but we gonna get into it. Um, Blue pill, red pill. Everybody know about the Matrix and everything, so you already know how this goes. But this is the twist. So, and I'm gonna add another one to it too because I let me start off with that one yesterday. The other day I was talking with my wife and I was like, well, April Showers. I'm sorry if I didn't say your name, Miss April Showers. So they had a post on Instagram say, would you rather spend a year by yourself or 3 months with your ex? And my wife kind of hesitated. And I said, you want me to go ahead and say what I'm going to say? And she said, I think my ex, I said, you doggone right. Three months with my ex compared to a year by myself. A lot of people can't take that silence. I mean, honestly, I could do either or, but after I would say we're going into the first month, I would really have to go deep and find myself going into the second month. By that third month, I kind of be a little on the edge, but um, but for the most part though, it kind of you kind of get that feel because we all, even though we not most of us, if you're not in a relationship you still like that feeling of talking to somebody. You know, that you have somebody respond to you to kind of bounce things off, relate to, even if you disagree, most of the time, some people have the best friends are the ones they disagree with, you know, because a lot of times you can find yourself and be at peace, do things because honestly speaking, remember the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks, Wilson. He took a volleyball and made it his best friend while he was out there, you know. And it was literally crazy how things happen, you know. And then to a degree, hey, you kind of find yourself in certain moments in time. Hope y'all gonna people call me. I don't know why. Uh, I don't know who telemarketers or what. They call me, then hang up, then I call back, get his sponsor. But anyway, when it come down to it, he found that volleyball where he had his, kind of peace and happiness from just dealing with a volleyball. He needed somebody to talk to. He needed somebody, he would blame Wilson for stuff, kick Wilson in the ocean and go back and get all kind of stuff happen to Wilson. But ultimately, Wilson was his friend. That's the thing. You know, that's why I say that the year would kind of be a little, it'll work for the first couple of months, but then it'd be kind of uneasy for me because, you know, if you've always had that kind of sense of dealing with people, it'll be uneasy for you to stay a year. Like doing a year, people don't really know what a year is until actually a year comes. Because how many times we always say, "Man, the year bumped by so fast," and that's that old saying that time flies when you're having fun. And most of the time, you're typically having fun with people. You're not having fun by yourself. You know how many people at work, the day is going by so slow. If you're in a cubicle by yourself, you're not socializing with nobody. You just in there to do a position. I know people that work in facilities that only have 5 people in that building, or maybe 3 people in the building, and their job might be IT, just sitting there waiting on something to happen. They get so bored, they gotta find something to do. They start fixing on their desk. They start adding little, trinkets around to where they can, kind of deal with those. Man, I gotta go back to the warehouse. I deal with them tomorrow. Yeah, but it's just like different little trinkets and stuff like that. You try to find yourself, in dealing with certain things to the point where, man, you get bored being by yourself. But honestly speaking, I would do the 3 months hands down because, like I told my wife, I never had an ex that I wasn't that cool with. We broke up. It wasn't mutual, but it was to the decision that we made where both of us was a little comfortable with it. You know, Breakups are bad on both sides, but to a degree, if you guys really have no beef and there was no like real bad situation over the breakup, then you kind of tend to work, at it for the greater and it being cool. So ultimately, I would choose to, be with my ex, just conversate, talk. You know, you probably spend 3 months talking about the stuff that you went through with that person. But overall, you know, hey, choices, A and B, red and black. All right, so let's get into it. When it comes down to it, which one would you rather do? Change things in your past and, kind of the wrongs and all this stuff, kind of happen in your life, happen in people's life, things that you can avoid to make, situations better, make your life better, or would you go after the money? Kai, what's going on? So would you take the money? Would you literally look at a situation to where I take this $10 million and it could help my family, it could help this and that, or would you change the things in your past? Honestly speaking, I would take the money, because the path you are in life right now, to a certain degree, for people that goes into Marvel and comic books and stuff like that, they talk about alternate universe and having situations to where if you try to change something in the past, it'll ultimately go back to that same scenario, or you change something in the past and it would totally make things worse. You know, I told my wife, I said, if I would have took this path and went to college and did certain things I had scheduled for my life, 9 times out of 10 I probably wouldn't have met you. Because I was thinking about going to New York for this design school, and that's where she was at. So she said we probably would have crossed paths. I was like, but you probably would have never really been on my radar. I said because like we would have met and just passing, but that would have been just it. I fell in love with a person, and that's kind of kicked off our relationship was the personal side of you. If I would have never met you and knew the personal side of you, I would have never had a chance to, kind of fall in love with you. And she was like, yeah, that's true. Because people want to change certain things. Let's say, man, if I, would have did this, I would have made more money at this job. But what if you made more money and then ultimately years down the line you got fired and you went 2 years without a job? You don't know what the past will change in the future. And a lot of us are like that. We want to change so many things in the past, but then you're altering the future as well. You know, I mean, it's not like you having a magic wish or something that can keep things the same, but change certain things in the past that can grant you, a feel of happiness, because that's what we're looking for, that feel of happiness. And then comes the money. The money could do so much. I know I might be breaking up a little bit, but the money could do so much. The money could change a lot of people's perspective and overall, like money has a lot of power. Money can create friends. Money, what's going on? Mark Nash in the building. Money can create friends. Money can, you know, kill problems. Money can make a lot of things better. Us trying to change things in our past, it's a feeling that we want, but it doesn't change our success. You know, if you got a better job, what if you got fired? You know, money can help ease the pain of a lot of stuff, you know, and you see so many posts like this, and people look at it that, you're more or less infatuated with the money. And a lot of people fail to realize money helps with a lot of stuff. And we don't realize it till it's too late, because we always want to look at the narrative that money is bad for us, you know. And technically, they got an old saying, you know, money is the root of all evil. And to finish that statement up, is technically what you do with money makes it the root of all evil. A lot of us, we're using money for the wrong, reasons, bad intention, and overall, that's what's hurting us. The way we use the money, not just the money in general, it's the way we use it. You know, I ain't never seen money kill a person, I seen people use money to kind of go to kill somebody, or money is, kind of the root of certain situations, but not all. Because money is good. Money helps people out. You know, give a homeless person $100 bill, that'll change their life. Oh man, they feel so good. Whether they want the drugs, whether they want to, clean themselves up and go get a hotel for that night, that's what the money is doing for them at that particular moment. We look at a lot of situations, and we always want to point the finger of something different than what it actually really is. When a lot of times it comes down, the money helps us out, and the money can help others, but we got to be able to know how to use that money to do the right thing. You can actually change a lot of things in your past with money. For instance, you maybe wasn't a good father or a good mother. Money is not going to solve that problem, but money can ease the pain. You know, um, I seen this story about a guy. He had stepkids, and his stepkids were his step boys was more of, you know impact on his life to be his son than his natural daughter through his wife, simply because the daughter kind of took the mom side over the dad side, and the stepsons were like, man, this was a loving man. This man cared about us with all his heart. He provided for us. He didn't have to do certain things, and he did out of the kindness of his heart. And we appreciate it 100%. You get those type of stories because misleading, guiding information to push you to a narrative. Ultimately, the guy did everything for that girl. She still didn't like him. Money was thrown at her, and you have situations like that where money doesn't help. But then you have situations to where the lottery. A lot of people know about the curse of the lottery and how the lottery changed my life. There's two shows for that. The lottery changed my life talks about all the great things that happen to people that hit the lottery and change lives. And the curse of the lottery shows all the horrible things, like how some people end up just in bad situations. Man, I'm talking about, I seen one where a guy took a shotgun and, shot himself with his, put his toe in the trigger and shot himself because, you know, he wanted to play around and mess around because he had so much money. Ended up getting a divorce and could never get his life back on track. So, and ultimately, he ended his life like he had nothing. You know, all the money he had was in his account. He made a will, set everything out for his wife and kids. Told him he was sorry. Then you had a situation to where, you know, a guy hit the lottery with his girlfriend, end up getting married right after that. Still has the money, they have good people around them, teaching them, being balanced and not to blow their money. They went and got a financial advisor. They did everything right. So you got two people that wasn't married, no kids, keeping their money, to a guy who was married, had about, I think, 3 kids, and just ultimately, man, just lost everything. And if he could go back, the number one thing he was saying that he would never wanted to win the lottery. And a lot of times, just like being on that island that I was kind of tying in earlier, a lot of people don't know themselves. So that's why they tend to go down these paths when they get a little money. You know, we know the guy who, kind of was picked on when he was younger. Nobody dealt with him. Nobody really messed with him. He got a little money, got cocky, started trying to throw his weight around. Um, what's the show? I think the Kardashians or something. The guy on there, I think his name is Scott, because I know somebody told me about this one day where he stuck some money in the waiter's mouth and said somebody asked his opinion or something. He'll tell him, and he stuffs some money in his mouth, and they was about to get into a fight. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. I was like, I would have beat dude down. Like, you're not gonna stuff no nasty money in my mouth. Like, germs. I'm like, dude, and that's disrespectful, altogether. But at the same time, you know, you're looking at the money aspect. Money helps a lot of people. I would easily take that $10 million. And shout out to Shannon Ross, for putting that post on Instagram. He has a YouTube. I talk about him several. I talked about him yesterday about he was saying how if you're over 30, really in your 20s, but if you're over 30, there's no way you shouldn't be taking a multivitamin. You know, you really need to, assess your health, taking multivitamins, watch what you eat, eating less. You know, the older you get, the harder it is for that weight to come off. My metabolism starts slowing down in my mid 30s, and I started just gaining the weight. And you never really pay attention to it unless you get some clothes that don't fit, and you be like, I just get a bigger pair of pants. Ah, let's get a bigger shirt. So one day you look, you went from a small before all the way to a double or a triple X, and then you start questioning things. What's going on, Nino? When the next documentary coming out, man? But you know, we have these situations, man, where we try to, balance our life. You can change some things in the past, but ultimately, you know, it's up to that person to forgive you if you have that type of situation. You can change about how you come at things. Sheila creeping in here. I see you, Sheila. The quiet storm. What's going on with you? I haven't seen you in a minute. Shout out to you. Young Riaz in the building. But like I said, if you're looking at changing things in the past and you're dealing with people, you can't change that person's heart. You can go back and amend the things that you did that ultimately, had a reason to why they were mad at you. But overall, you can't change the heart of, some people. It is what it is. You know, the money, it kind of eased the pain, but at the same time, when it comes down to it, as far as the money situation, you'll have a situation to where that money can help a lot of people, including yourself. You know, like I said, when it comes down to it, a lot of people will say they will take that island in a minute for a year by themselves, but can you actually deal with you? I know people can deal with themselves for a couple of months, but can you actually deal with yourself for a year? Like I told you about the movie Castaway. He took that volleyball, and that was his friend. He talked to him. He was by himself, nobody around. Why did he need the volleyball? You know, he just yearned for somebody to talk to. He really needed somebody to talk to. And overall, it set that stage to where a lot of people are not comfortable. You see a lot of times, and I don't know about people most of the time. I watch this show called Alone, and they have another show called Naked and Afraid. They have another like a lot of nature shows. I like watching those nature shows because for one, it kind of gives me a little more information about certain things I don't know about nature. Because in the end, if all this electronics and stuff stop, how are we gonna be able to survive? And I like these nature shows, Shannon, to be in the building. So I like these nature shows to kind of keep my mind sharp. But ultimately, like I said, how many people gonna be on that island by themselves? That show alone, it has people out there by themselves. I think one of the guy on the first season, you know, yeah, I love that show too. But the guy on the first season, he ended up, doing like 90 something days, and he stayed out for I think a couple of more weeks or whatever. But on that show alone, like you're literally by yourself, and it tests your mental. I had seen so many people that they were doing so good. Like one guy, he made some dice. He was playing dice with himself. The guy was making spoons. One guy made a canoe out of the tarp that he had. Built him a canoe. The other guy took a log and carved it out. Made him a canoe with it. It was like the ingenuity of so many of these guys, and they were, ladies too. They were on there. They were to a situation to where, they were comfortable with being alone by themselves. But then it came over to where a lot of those men missed their kids. The women especially missed their kids, and it's just that voice of silence because nobody's talking to you. And a lot of time they were talking to themselves. They were in a moment to where they was like, man, it's only just me. So they would talk to the camera as their friends. Then it got to the point where the camera wasn't talking back, and they would feel that silence, that emptiness in them. And over time, it got like gloomier and gloomier. They were getting depressed. Then they were getting malnutrition by not eating. Only thing you eat is fish. You had deers and moose. Some of the people that can catch them, but those things that hibernate. Then what you do? Fishing season when it comes winter, all the fishes they go in the middle. They go down to the bottom. It got to a point to where a lot of them quit just out of starvation, but they were yearning for their family. That's why I say people that say that they want to stay on the island by themselves, it sounds good till you actually get in a deep thought and think about it. Man, it's rough. Like staying by yourself, it's rough. So even with being on the island with your ex, because some of us we have bad situations with our ex, we don't even want to see them. Then you have to be with that person for 3 months. All you gonna want to do is argue with that person. All you want to do is tell that person off, get mad at them. But to a degree, hey, there's nobody else. You and that person gotta work it out all the way. And it gets to a point to where, like, man, working out ain't helping. Then what we do? You know, a lot of us, we have family members, we have friends, situations we try to, go through and benefit and work out. Hey, yeah, a lot of people need the internet. These phones have made us crippled to life. Queen in the building, what's going on? A lot of time these phones have made us crippled to life. In the good to where we can look up anything at a moment's notice, fingertip. You know, you have these crazy stories where people be like, man, yeah, man, when you fool around, go to Antarctica, man, them polar bears like 10 feet tall. Hey Google, how big does a polar bear get? Beep, automatically tells you. Hey man, you lying. Uh, Well, no, Google not right about it. It's to a point where that information helps. But then the social media to where we got to put on, man, that's like the most craziest stuff to actually deal with social media and like the information is not all there. It's more entertaining now, man. We have these, you know, platforms mainly for entertainment. TikTok to me is more entertainment. It's not along the sides of giving information. Twitter, they steered away from their main objective is to give information. And to be in the, I think Twitter and some parts of Instagram got the most porn and crazy stuff on there, naked stuff people be putting. I remember one time this guy sent me something from Twitter. I was like, "What the world? Like they be putting porn on there?" He's like, "Hey man, I found it on here. I'm just looking, and I found it on." I'm like, "Wow." I was like, "Man, you'll never see that stuff on Facebook." That kind of enhanced it to where they got a lot of that stuff out of there. Nikki, oh, see, I'm gonna start calling you Nikki. I think we're a little bit internet friends now. I can start calling you Nikki. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. Like social media, I see so many people. I remember I once knew this lady. She was on there putting all her bad information. Sweet thumb, what's going on, man? Ain't seen you in a minute. How life going? How life going? How life going? But she was putting all her information on. Like she had about I think 2 kids, and she ended up messing with a guy at a church, and word got out, and she went on a live and had the dude and his girl or girl or wife or whatever on live, and they going back and forth, and I'm like, wow, like this not good. This not looking good whatsoever. But she was cool with putting her information. Like everybody knew she was cheating, and she was like, "Yeah, you gonna find out this baby yours, and your husband's a cheater." Found out the baby was his. My wife, she kind of just disappeared. She got off of social media for a minute, then came back with the dude like nothing ever happened. Then you got, you know, to a degree, the girl who was cheating and messing around. He didn't go back with her. Like I probably paid child support and just moved on. And I'm like, why did everybody have to know about that? Like you had to tell everybody he was cheating with a married man. I'm like, sometimes it gets kind of crazy with social media. Like I say, if I was to go back, I would change something like that. I'd be like, man, I don't want to see that. But then guess what? The outcome will happen with another person again. So it would be the same thing. Like the outcome would still be the same. So she probably just end up doing it with somebody else. It's like you try to change it, but who knows, man? Like that's why I say changing things in your past. Sometimes it's good, it's at a advantage. Sometimes it's at a disadvantage, because you can change the stuff that you do, but ultimately you can't change it. You can't change other people. You can't change their thoughts. You can't change their ways. You can only change stuff for yourself. Yeah, a lot of times people throw those morals out the window, you know, and it's crazy with my Well, I'm just gonna say somebody I know. I always try to keep it at that. So somebody I know was having conversation, and they were saying that they was at the his girl. He was at his girl's mother house, and upon being at his girl's mother house, the girl's mother looked over at her daughter and was like, well, lady, I'm sorry, lady, and was at her mother's house and was like, why you not gonna make this man plate? That's your man, make his plate. He know where the kitchen at. So the mother jumps up, makes the plate, and tells her daughter she got a good for nothing daughter. And I was laughing, and when I told the guy, I said, see, that goes to play to where people are taught things, but ultimately you switch up and change up the way you want to handle or do things. You know, just like a lot of men, open the door for women. A lot of guys won't hold the door, open the door for a woman. We were taught that as kids. My son, when he was a little kid, he would open up. When I taught him that the first time, both of my twins would always rush to the door to open the door for any lady. And it's not being a sucker like the people call it now. Simp. Simp is everything now. It's just common courtesy. Even I've opened the door for men. Like, go ahead, go in front of me. I got here first. You're right behind me. Go ahead and go in. I'm not in a rush. Or if I come in, open the door, I hold it for the next person to where they can at least grab the door before I let it go. Just common courtesy. A lot of people don't have that nowadays. A lot of people don't express common courtesy with each other. And that's why I say, even with you picking the things to change in your past, you know, a lot of people won't go back to being more respectful with each other. A lot of people won't go back to, having that understanding that, hey, we're family. We to love and do for more for one another. They're not having that because we're at a point in life right now, man. Even with that money they get, it's gonna do a lot of damage. You getting $10 million, society teach us to stunt. Society teach us to ball out, not take care of things, not take care of nobody. I done heard so many people say if they hit the lottery, they're disappearing. They're not doing nothing for nobody, you know. And then you hear a lot of people complaining about rich people with money. Oh, they got too much money. Oh, this. So you mean to tell me because I did what's right on the spot, what's going on? I see you. Slid on in here. You got people that did what's right, made their millions, so now they have to give back because they're millionaires. Why? Sometimes, I understand a cheerful giver who wants to give, that do things for people. People don't have to give. Why didn't you make the sacrifice to be rich just like them? That's why I never understand that with people like looking at rich people that they have to do things, they have to give money. Why didn't you take the same path they took? Well, I was raised up in this, and I live like this, and all I hear is excuses. I know so many people that grew up in bad situations. Mother and father wasn't around, grew up around their grandparents, grew up around aunties and uncles. Some people were kicked off on neighbors. Neighbors treated them crazy, and they grew up, wanted to change their environment, wanted to change the world, ended up being doctors and stuff. You know, had the situation to where they can overcome different obstacles. You know, a lot of times we have these situations about white people, black people. My biggest thing is that narrative is always pushed to kind of divide and conquer. All it is rich or poor. You know, in in doing slavery, when they had the white people who had less money, they were pushing them against the black people who had a little money. I seen this story on YouTube, whatever, but it was saying that um, white guy had a farm and he would till his farm by himself. Black guy moved into the farm next to him, end up getting a mule, doing so good, end up getting two mules, end up plowing his land, doing good. The white guy goes and kills the mules, and then the guy starts slowing down to enough to where he couldn't afford the land. He had to sell his land. That was a poverty thing. It wasn't even about black and white. But if you look at it, because the black man had money, a little more money than the white guy. Like, oh, it's a racist thing. A lot of times, like I said, this race. Not saying that racism doesn't happen, but racism is pushed on us to kind of pick a side. It's all about rich or poor. In my opinion, racism is pushed on us. Yeah, I mean, it's up to you how you want to live and how you want to deal with racism and do. But overall, I I know white people, know black people, Chinese deal with all of them the same. If you crooked, you're crooked. I don't care if you black or white. If you're crooked, you're crooked. You know, you everybody steal. I never met not one race that didn't steal. Never met not one race that wasn't manipulative or try to get over. You know, underrated what's going on. You know, cliche. Everybody know about Spider Man. With great power comes great responsibility, and people take that power and they use it to manipulate. If you have money, you can change things. If you have knowledge, you can overall change the outcome of people. But the point of reference is like getting that money, man, it helps so many people. But we got into a mindset of being shallow. We got into a situation of where we don't care about people, even our own family. I mean, granted, there's guys who don't even talk to their mother because of their past, situation. And I understand. There's some things you can't really forgive people. You know, you can kind of forgive them of their way, but you can't forget it. That's the thing. That's what makes people get away from certain things to where if I forgive you about something from my heart, hey, I'm gonna forgive you, but I can't forget because you're gonna do it again. You're gonna put me in a situation where I'm gonna have to hurt you. So I can't forget the situation that you put me in the first time. So I'm always gonna have my guard up. You tend to hear people say, "Oh man, that was in the past. Oh man, that was this, that was that." Even for it to be a situation that in the past, hey, it it still bring back memories. You know how many people are haunted by situations that happen in families? They wish they can change that outcome that kind of would have made them better in life. That's a lot of people are haunted by their past that way. They want to change that past, but the thing is to kind of work at it to get over it and to move forward. A lot of people are crippled like that, man. They can't live life because they keep replaying that situation that happened in their life, and it kind of puts them in a state of depression where they can't get by. It's so many people that go through this stuff. Can't stop. What's going on? Ray in the building. But we have our situations, and we go through so much stuff, man. It's like nobody's really there for us. Nobody really cares for us. And the bad thing is we always have these situations, the man. Like can't stop. That guy be cutting up on his channel. I missed a little bit. I was in and out this morning, but overall, man, it's a lot of hurt that people go through. And like I said, it'll be good 100% to change all that bad stuff that happened in my life. Man, I wouldn't have people that die. I think my granny, she'll be like 108, 110 now. Like, dude, it'll be like so much I can change the past, but can I change the outcome of those people? You know, it was their time to die. It was their time to die. So many people get brought back. I'm gonna get ready to get off of here too, but it was a situation to where I seen somebody post something that said, if you can bring anybody back in history, who would you bring back? People, oh, I will bring back Martin Luther King. Oh, I will bring back. Malcolm X. Oh, I will bring. I said, man, as much as I would love to bring my granny back, as I man, me and my granny had so much of a time together, I would have brought back my great granddad because I never got to meet him. You know, he passed before I was born. Everybody told me so much crazy stuff about him. You know, everybody. You know, it'd have been cool to talk with my dad too because I was young when he passed, so I didn't really get that um, connection with him. You know, we would talk and have our stuff, but didn't really get that connection. But for me to sit there and experience that with my granddad, because everybody was talking about how much of a good guy this guy was. Even like I say about my dad, man, my dad, he was to me, he was more prepared for life than I can only imagine, dude. Like the things that I'm learning now, everybody's telling, oh, your dad used to talk about stuff like that. Your dad did it. Spoke 7 different languages. My sister, she would sit there and tell me, she was like, man, your dad would talk to me everything from French to Spanish. You know, he speak German, like everything, like 7 different languages fluently. And I was like, dang, like, you must have been doing this at a young age. But then it goes to, with my dad, when he passed, so went majority of the people on the side of his family. Only people I mainly know is everybody on my mom's side. I could say, man, if I took the money, I can find them, or if I can take the thing to change the past, but then would that put me in a position to where I'll still be the same man I am, or I'll be even elevated even more? Who knows? That goes back to that red door, blue door. With me changing my past and having my parents and family members ultimately change my life, or if I, like people who have bad parents growing up, if you wish your parents to be the Huxtables, you know, nicer parents, loving parents, both of them stayed together, stayed in your life all these years, they still alive. Like, would it change the outcome of their selves? Because you would have to do a lot of wishing and change it because, that's the thing with the genie having 3 wishes. You can change world hunger to where nobody's hungry. Everybody can eat, everybody's full. Then it might create obesity. You know, if everybody's living and nobody's dying of starvation, then it might create to a point that everybody be obese because they have so much food, they eat too much of it. You know, then it might get to a point to where the poverty rate goes down, but the population goes up because everybody, you know, has a way, a means of eating. You know, that let's talk about another thing added to that. If you change, not just world hunger, but shelter, where everybody has a house and everybody has, something to eat. Then it's going to change the outcome to where I don't have to work because I already know I'm going to have a home and I'm going to have food provided for me through these systems or these systems, whatever, the assisting things or system may be. Like, man, I'm good. It gets to a point where it's crazy. Like, you change stuff that can ultimately help people, but then it also hinders everything else. Prime example in Flint, the guy Moses who made it to me, and I looked at it, it's almost like a big dehumidifier. Takes the moisture out of the air and makes water. It's like a big dehumidifier. And with that, they're taking that and we're giving water to the people in Flint. Bad crisis. You know what happened? Somebody went in there, busted that machine up so bad. Man, I gotta get off on here riding my time off a little bit too long. But I'm gonna get off. They end up busting that machine up so bad to the point to where in Flint, a lot of those people weren't getting water, clean water no more. They were back to dealing with that. Like they were getting gallons of water, taking baths with the water, drinking the water, cooking with the water, because the water was horrible. Somebody went through there, and like the guy Moses said, they were engineers. They knew what they were doing. They put marbles in the motor, put like little BBs and pellets in the and sand in the gas line. Like they busted that machine up so bad. He's like, man, it's gonna take me so long to break everything down and put the machine back together. It just ruined. It's basically like he's starting from scratch, rebuilding that machine from the scratch. And it it's crazy how people, do stuff and the mindset. But just like you said, I teed a lot of people off. You got water companies that they're depending on people to buy this water. Now I'm giving free water. What is that doing? You know, like he dropping those machines in third world countries that have droughts that don't have typical water in this spaces only upon raining season, only upon rain season. I mean, it just like I said, crazy man. How we experience life, stuff get done, bad. I only imagine, man. You get that money, you can change a lot of lives. You can also ruin a lot of lives. You know, trying to change things in your past, or get people to forgive you about stuff with those wishes. It can help some and hurt others. So ultimately, man, hey, you can pick between either door. At the same time, hey, pick wisely because hey, you could change some people's life, make it better. They still won't like you, because you never really knew the intent of why they stopped messing with you or why you had the issue with them or just in general, you thinking you're changing things for the better makes it worse. You know, you got secret haters, man. I'm telling you, like they don't even like your existence, but they your best friends. They always around you. You know, they wish the best for you in your face and clown when you're not around. You take that money, you put it to good use, help so many people, but in the end, you might hurt a couple because they want the money, but at the same time, man, hey, well, foul snuck in here too. Man, I'm about to jump off of here, but I'm gonna end with this. The choice is yours. Ultimately, kind of grasp some things that you're looking into. What's your best options? Overall, you know what I say, people. We here and we gone.